Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and we're back with our Best of the Rest series. In this video we'll be covering all the blue cards not spoiled individually. The first card we're going to look at is Aerial Formation. 1 blue mana for an instant with Strive, costing 3 more to cast for each target beyond the first. Any number of target creatures each get +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. I'm really liking Strive. Sure, the additional targeting cost is 3 per creature, but late game this is nuts. Also with Battlefield Thaumaturge, it's cheap enough to just be really good. Grants flying, enables heroic, and buffs up your creatures. I'm liking the cycle of Strive cards. Next up we have Cloaked Siren. 4 mana for a 3/2 flash flying harpy bat monster woman thing. It has flying, so naturally it's good for limited. Flash is a great ability, and at 3 power this does provide a decent clock if they can't answer it. Hour of Need is 3 mana for an instant with Strive, costing 2 more to cast for each target beyond the first. Exile any number of target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts a 4/4 blue Sphinx creature token with flying onto the battlefield. What? This card is awesome. The initial cost is a bit high, but the Strive is cheap, and you can make a bunch of 4/4 lions with wings. I love abilities like this. It's basically what would happen if Curse of the Swine had any respect for itself at all. Honestly though, it's a good limited card. Late game you can make small things huge, or gigantic things a little less gigantic. This is cool. Hubris is 2 mana for an instant. Return target creature and all auras attached to it to their owner's hand. Expensive uncommon with a cool upside. If you're casting this on an opponent's creature, sure it's not the greatest, but if you're protecting your own creature from a removal spell, this is pretty amazing. Not only do you get the creature back, but you don't have to worry about losing all those auras you put on it. This could actually see constructed play for that very reason. Card advantage in hexproof decks is pretty lacking. If your creature with 2 or 3 auras on it dies, you usually just get really sad and probably lose. But with Hubris, this might not happen. You could save your guy and everything attached to it. I really like this card. Moving right along, we have Pinned to the Earth. That Biden does not look comfortable. 2 mana for an enchant creature aura. Enchanted creature gets -6/-0. What a way to make any Hydra a lot less menacing. Imagine putting this on a Pelucranos in a draft game. You might as well dress him up like Hello Kitty and have a tea party. So, I just really get into destroying green creatures. My bad. Pull from the Deep is 2 colorless and 2 blue for a sorcery. Return up to 1 target instant and up to 1 target sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Pull from the Deep. What peculiar wording. So you get an instant and sorcery, or one of either. I'd be more excited if it wasn't 4 mana and double blue at sorcery speed and you had to exile it. Awkward. Because even more flyers, Rise of Eagles is 6 mana for a sorcery. Put 2/2/2 blue bird enchantment creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Scry 1. Okay, I love flying probably way more than the next guy, but this is expensive. Don't get me wrong, 2/2/2 flyers being generated in 1 turn is strong. It provides a decent clock if your opponent has nothing going on, but it won't bring it back if you're behind. 2/2/2s for 6 mana late game, if you're already on the back foot, will not stem the bleeding. They'll just chump for 1 turn and you're back at the beginning. I do like the effect, I'm just worried that there really isn't a place for it in the limited meta right now. Thassa's Devourer is 5 mana for a 2/6 enchantment creature elemental with Constellation. Whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, target player puts the top 2 cards they're elaborated to their graveyard. Decent blocker. The 6 toughness is fine. I always imagine Constellation as something that would either be super aggressive or super control-y. The Devourer seems like it would be a control Constellation card, but middle is a very aggressive mechanic. You want to get started fast because if you don't, you won't deck them before you die. The Devourer's ability plays really nice with mill, but is pretty late game for the strategy. Thassa's Ire is 1 blue mana for an enchantment. You can pay 4 and tap or untap target creature. Well, this has me written all over it. I love tapping creatures. It annoys everyone. The best part about this card is that it's an enchantment that only costs 1 to play, obviously meant to trigger Constellation. This is a cool card. Sure, the tap ability is expensive, but a cheap Constellation trigger and late game annoyance might be worth it if you're playing the right deck. Triton Cavalry is 4 mana for a 2/4 Merfolk Soldier with Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets him, you may return target enchantment to its owner's hand. I really like this. A 4 mana 2/4 is a combination we've seen for years. The ability is relevant in limited formats, as it's pretty much impossible to avoid playing some kind of enchantment in your draft or sealed deck. I think it's just cheap enough to play, just durable enough to be useful, and the ability is just good enough that people will pick this card in draft. Triton Shorestalker is 1 blue mana for a 1/1 Merfolk that can't be blocked. This is the first time they've printed a 1 mana unblockable Merfolk. This is something to pay attention to. Merfolk has been a strategy in pretty much every format at one point or another. Being unblockable and a 1-drop seems pretty strong. This could see play in some Merfolk lists, especially budget ones. Fish be tricky. Wing Siren is 3 mana for a 1/3 flying Siren Soldier with Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets her, put a 1/1 counter on her. Pretty standard card here. Definitely worth playing in limited because of the Heroic trigger. A 1/3 flyer for 3 is okay, but the Heroic definitely makes it playable. It's a decent card. And that's the rest of the blue cards from Journey into Nyx. I think we can all agree that white has done quite well for itself, but how do you guys think blue did? Personally, I think there's a lot of flying power here to supplement the blue cards in Theros and Born of the Gods come draft time. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Remember to subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Journey into Nyx spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.